Welcome to the Epic Success Podcast. I am your host, Dr. Shannon Irvin. Today, we are continuing the Queens Table conversation. So pull up a chair in the room and let's hear this week from the co-founder of Burn Bootcamp. This is a I believe they're at 8 figures now, over 40 states. I think it's close to 400 locations of the Burn Bootcamp fitness store. And it is an amazing journey. Morgan is with us at the Queens Table. She's a powerhouse. She's a mama. She's fierce, but she just loves women and loves helping elevate women to the best that they're called to be. So we're going to dive into what was it like to start as an entrepreneur at 24 years old and build a business empire at the same time as raising 3 amazing kiddos. All right, so let's dive right in. Here we go. Morgan, oh my gosh, this episode is going to be fire. Welcome to the podcast. I'm so excited you're here.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to chat.
So we've been in this series around just having a seat at the table, kind of probably what you and I both wished when we were just getting started. Like, I just wanted to be a fly on the wall and hear the conversations and the thinking and the strategy of people who were in 7 and then 8 figures.
Yep.
And Morgan and I are in the Queens Table Mastermind together. And this is a mastermind of just ladies. Sorry, guys. multiple 7 and 8 figure business owners. And, you know, Morgan is the founder of Burn Bootcamp, which I told you at the start, but I'd love for you to talk about like that journey, because I know it wasn't like you woke up one day and then all of a sudden there were hundreds of franchises.
Yeah. Only it were that easy. Right. And
there was no fairy dust involved. Right.
And I know sometimes people think it was that easy and it just happened overnight, but this has been 10 plus years in the making, right? To be where I'm at today. And let me take you back kind of a little over 10 years ago, right? So 2012 is when Burn Bootcamp was founded. And at the time, I was working for Kellogg's, the Kellogg company. So I was
the cereal company.
The cereal company. Yeah. So, to go back a little bit more, I graduated from Western Michigan University. Kellogg's is headquartered in my hometown in Battle Creek, Michigan. So growing up, I really had that belief that I need to get a job right out of college. I need to get, something in a corporate job so I can climb the corporate ladder, get all those benefits, right? Like that was the American dream. And that was really my plan A. I never saw myself working for myself. And so that's exactly what I did. I graduated college. I graduated high school, went to college, graduated college, had a job right outside of college at Kellogg's. And I was doing that job and had that same belief. I got a promotion within 18 months. I was just grinding, right? I'm a hard worker, right? That's one thing I am very proud of. So, my now husband, but then boyfriend, who I've known since 6th grade, he was a professional baseball player. So his plan A was to make it to the big leagues. My plan A was to climb the corporate ladder. And we did not have plan Bs, really. It was just, that's what we were doing. Well, Devin got released. So of course was devastated. And at the time I'm now into my career out of college. And long story short, he tried a couple different things and he's like, you know what? I want to work for myself. And he has a lot more of an entrepreneurial spirit than I did at the time. And when we moved up to Charlotte, North Carolina, which is where we live now, he started Burn Bootcamp, right? And now, of course, I am the co-founder, but it was really his vision first, because I'm thinking, well, I need to keep this full-time job because we're 24 years old and, like he's the visionary. I am not the visionary. So of course there's a little bit of doubt in the back of my mind, like, okay, I'm going to keep my full-time job just in case something happens to this business that Devin wants to create.
Right.
So 2012 is when Burn Bootcamp was founded in a parking lot, because not a single person would rent a space out to us, right? We're 24 years old. We have very limited work history, really, very limited credit. I was the only one really pulling in money at the time. Right. The business plan was not there. The proof of concept was not there, but we hustled and we got resourceful. And We started in a parking lot that merged into like subleasing from gymnastic studios and dance centers. And we created this brand and this community here in the Lake Norman area. And Devin and I grew from parking lot to 5 locations in a matter of about 3 years. And then we said, okay, what's next for us? Like, how do we continue to scale this brand? And that's when franchising came really into our lives. And we franchised our business in 2015. And we now are, operating with over 300 doors in 40 different states. So we're getting ready to celebrate our 10-year anniversary of the brand, but 7 years of franchising. So a lot of things have moved really quickly in our lives.
Yeah.
And, I've stepped into these roles on the business side that I never was really prepared for, and like you said, like that seat at the table and like just I'm learning and failing as I go. I still am learning and failing as I go. And of course, there's things I wish I knew 10 years ago that I could go back and tell that Morgan and that Devin even, but I think really along the way, I never was a part of rooms like what I am now because I was young. I wasn't respected in that way. I didn't have the clout. Devin and I we invested in ourselves. We did a lot of Tony Robbins seminars, and I'm very grateful for that because that kind of gave me that bird's eye view of what to expect in business, right? Of course, not all the things, but we would try to absorb as much of that stuff, but we didn't have a lot of people helping us along the way. It was us forging ground for ourselves. And so, now what I love in franchising is I'm able to kind of share those failures with our network, with our system to say, hey, we want to make sure that you don't make the same mistakes that we did in business. And we want you to be a part of this system. Now, that doesn't mean that doesn't come with failures in business, right? But now I love giving that out to everybody else, right? I love being able to share certain things that I've learned through hiring, firing, lease negotiations, customer service, all the things that I've learned along these last 10 years and share those golden nuggets with whoever I can. So I'm happy to be on the podcast and hopefully do so today.
Oh my gosh. So much gold in everything that you said. So I can't wait to unpack it. And lest someone is sitting there going, yeah, must be nice for you, because we get that a lot, right? Yeah. You're not just running Burn Boot Camp. You also have a family. So talk about that a little bit. So a lot of times, like that's the thing that a lot of times, people looking from the outside in will say, well, yeah, of course, and just make some assumptions, but I know Morgan and I know how important her family is. So talk about a little bit about I don't even like to use the B word, the balance word, right? Like, how did you go about having a family and birthing this business at the same time?
Yeah. So Cameron is our oldest. She is 6 years old. So I actually found out I was pregnant with our first child around the same time that we had signed our first franchise agreement back in 2015. So you can imagine, we are venturing into franchising. At that point, we did not have kids. And we're like, all right, we're going to do this. And then I find out I'm pregnant. I'm like, oh, okay. And at the same time, I'm also running my own gym, right? So Devin had his own gym. I had mine in the Charlotte area. I'm a head trainer. I'm training, 35, 40 sessions a week. I'm running my own actual gym operations while also saying, okay, now let's start this franchise where we're going to support franchisees and we're going to throw a baby to the mix. Right.
Oh, yeah. Simple, right?
Yes, gosh, I can't even go back and tell you the feelings specifically, but I know I'm the type of person who's like, well, we're just going to do it because we've signed up for this and we've committed to it. And so we're going to do this. And so Cameron came along in 2016 and I was still head training, right? So I brought her to camps with me. We have Child Watch integrated into our program. And Devin and I just made that work with our first child. We brought her everywhere with us. We were traveling to new gym openings in Texas, Atlanta, Florida, and Cameron came with us. We made it a family business and we still do today, which we're so, so proud of, is we integrate our children as much as we can. And so when we talk about balance, because that is a question I get a lot as a mom, there isn't a thing such as balance. It's work-life integration for us. And it's not easy. There's still sacrifices I make, even though I can bring my kids along. That's a sacrifice still, because when I have 3 kids to watch, I'm sacrificing building relationships out in the field, right? Because I've got 3 kids on my hip. Like they're small. So I have a 6, a 4, and a 2-year-old. So they still need a lot of mommy, and
absolutely.
especially when we're on the road, I don't usually bring help with me. I mean, sometimes I do, but I just really, I sometimes give myself guilt around all the help as well. So I want to be a present mom, and I want to show them what mommy and daddy are doing. And I think that's very important. And I always talk about that with other moms that ask me that question. It's like, you have to be really, really proud and really aligned with what you're doing, whether you're working for someone else or you're working for yourself. You have to make sure that that mission and the core values of the company you're working for or, in is so aligned with you, because when it is, you're congruent. Like you don't mind working a lot more, right? Because you feel so ingrained in the mission. And so for me, like that, thankfully, is who I am. My core values at Burn are my core values in our home. The things that I want to teach my children, I get to teach them through Burn Boot Camp and showing them through example. So that is one thing that I think is on my side. But yes, 3 kids came along with the growth of 300 franchises as well. And it hasn't come easy, but there's been games that I missed. There's been words that I've missed. There's been steps that I've missed with my kids. But what I lean back on is I have so much love around my family and around my children. Like any nannies that I've had or family that helps me, they love my kids so much. And my kids will never not know what that feels like to not be loved. Right. And so sometimes we just have to utilize those people that really love us and they want to see us win, and they want to see us get closer to that mission as well. They're in the boat with me. The people around me are in the boat with me. And that helps when, you have a lot that you have to juggle. If you have someone in your boat that's not for you or with you, you got to get them out, because then you do feel so flustered and balanced that you're dropping the ball a lot more. So
I love that you said that, because I was just talking to one of my clients about this too, this idea that it is this broken model. It's this outside in model. And you were experiencing that at Kellogg's. You were like, this is what I am supposed to do. I go check this box. I am going up the ladder. Because why? Because that's kind of the outside in, what we were indoctrinated into. Same thing with motherhood. Yes. Like you should be the one that's doing everything. You should be but here's the thing, like, and I've watched you, so I get to see this in action, right? Yeah. We think like, I've got to be there and I've got to be the one to tell them everything, right? Not miss anything. Yeah, of course we don't want to miss moments. Nobody wants to miss a moment. Okay, that's the reality. However, they're watching what we do more than what we say. Yeah. And so if we want our kids to grow up knowing they can do anything, knowing that here's the thing that's killed women: doing it all alone. Yes. Like that's the lie. The lie is be the mom, be the entrepreneur, be the primary emotional caregiver, do everything, don't get help, and wonder why you're having a mental breakdown. Yeah. It's not possible. God never meant it to be that way. And it's a lie. So I get a little passionate about that. So having them see like Burn has childcare, which I love. My kids don't eat it anymore, but it's so cool that it's there. So you can do that, but it also pulls you away from things. So you're balancing what's the priority in the moment, but they're learning, you know what, mom has to do this. And they're watching the balance, and they're watching how much they're loved by the people in their boat. I love that visual. Mm-hmm. I hope my audience just like grabs that as a visual, because if they're in the boat and they're for you, then you're all rowing in that same place. Yeah. That's when you create human beings in the world that are confident and can create whatever they want in the world. So,
And I think it's important to sit on like that. Women don't need to do it all, because, and I've talked about this before in podcasts and about outsourcing help. Right. And I know like not everybody can afford it. Right. And so I know that that's like a barrier, and I get that, because back when Devin and I did have Cameron, I couldn't afford a nanny full time. So like my nanny at the time started like 15 hours a week, and then 20, and then like it was a priority for me though, to find time in my budget and work for time to outsource cleaning my house, to
Yes.
outsource landscaping for our family. Devin does not like to mow the grass. He's just not that human being.
Yeah.
I don't like to clean toilets. Like, and so of course there's that guilt of like, I'm outsourcing it. I'm having someone pay for it. But when I look at the time that I could be spending with my children or on my business versus mowing the lawn or cleaning the house, I think my time is better spent on those other things. Right. And I just
100%.
Listen, I think you can find time in your budget or find money in your budget if it means enough to you. And it's starting small. And then think of it this way. You're giving somebody else a job. Right. Whatever you're paying out for that, you're giving somebody else a job, which to me is also fulfilling. So there is this weight, I think, of women. It's like, well, she's successful because she's got all this help, Well, listen, my life is still so freaking crazy, even though I have. So if I also had to add on clean and cook and all of those things that I'm not even good at doing, my mission and my impact would not be as great. And that is a disservice to the people around me, I think.
Around you, to your franchisees, to your kids, right?
Yeah, to my kids, right? And so anyways, I think that's another part of balancing all the things is not being afraid or guilty or shameful that you can outsource help, and even if that means hiring a high school student, $10 an hour to fold your laundry for you, like, listen, you deserve it for one, I think. And for two, how does that free up that time where now I can go pour into my kids after school or after work? I can go pour into them instead of going home and doing laundry and all the other things. Right. So
I'm laughing about the laundry thing because I remember how the day I actually let that go and got a service to do our laundry, I had all the feelings, but let's just be real. Like, aren't we doing laundry like on the fly? And so things are not folded. Like, it's just messy. It was just messy. And now all of a sudden it's neat and tidy and things come back. And I'm like, and that time I chose that if I do that time is with the kids. Like, that's because I was always distracted. That's the thing I hated is like, I'm with my kids, but I'm distracted.
Multitasking all the time.
Good stuff. Right. Yeah. And that was the moment. And the kids are like, we kind of like this. This is better than when you do it. I'm like, I know. And I'm okay with that. Like, I am okay that somebody is better at this than I am. I'm so good with that. Yeah. All right.
And that's in business too, Dr. Shannon, that's in business too. So at the home and then also in business listen, when I was starting, I was the janitor of my gym. I was the electrician of my gym, right? Yeah. I was the cleaning person of my gym. Yeah. So you wear a lot of hats when you first start a business, right? Sure. And you don't have the money yet because you haven't built the business yet to now delegate in that side of the house. But as you grow and scale, you also have to be okay with saying, you know what, I need to hire somebody that can do this better than I can do it. Yeah. And what can only Morgan do? I constantly have to ask myself that question because I am the type of person that will take on literally so much, and be like, I got it. And then I'm overwhelmed. And it's like, okay, well, what on my to-do list can only I do? And then what is something that somebody could do it better than me? And a lot of us have a tough time just relinquishing that control, especially when it's in our business. But I think you won't be able to ever scale or have true freedom. If you cannot delegate something and trust that they're going to do it just as good, if not better.
I'm not sure if you were sitting there at the moment because it was before we started in the Queens Table, but we were talking about this idea of what can only I do. And we were like, it's one thing, it's a practice that I have. It's like once a quarter, I write down everything that I'm doing, like every living thing. And then I bring out a highlighter and I highlight what only I can do. And lo and behold, it's usually only 10 to 20% of what I'm doing.
Yeah. And I love that exercise.
It's such a powerful exercise because I always think I'm doing what only I can do.
Yeah.
Because most of us, let's just be real. Like I love that same, I got it. I got it. Like I got it. And then all of a sudden we're like, why does this feel so hard and heavy? I don't know why. Okay. You said something that I want to key in on in the very beginning. You said you started in a parking lot.
Yeah.
One of the things that I see so many struggling entrepreneurs, and then I want to talk about multiple streams of income, but so many struggling entrepreneurs struggle just to start. They want to start, like if we were looking at Burn Bootcamp specifically, like with the location and all of the things and all, right? They want it to be beautiful and perfect from the beginning. So I'd love for you to talk a little bit about those parking lot days and what it means to start messy, to start with what you have, where you are, versus waiting for this, fictitious perfection state, right?
Yeah. Imperfect action is better than no action. I think Devin and I had to tell ourselves that so many times, and the thing with Burn is our focus is community, right? We are a gym and it is a fitness product, but we focus on that human connection and that community. And at the end of the day, if you can deliver that experience and make people feel welcome, it doesn't matter what your walls look like. It doesn't matter what the floors look like, what the bathrooms look like. If you give somebody that experience where they feel valued in that space, then they're going to be a customer for life, And yes, the bathrooms are important at the end of the day in a business. Right. But I think like that's really what built Burn Bootcamp was we were connecting people in a parking lot and we were giving them an experience that they couldn't get somewhere else. And it had very little to do with the actual workout. It was the things that we did around that, right? To build community. So at Burn, we do focus on the workout, but we focus on what are your individual goals? What's stressing you out right now? I know we call focus meetings. So you can book a 15-minute focus meeting with your trainer. And I can't tell you how many times, like it just was an opportunity for a woman to open up to me and just be like, I'm struggling with this, and just let themselves be heard. So many people just want to be heard. So anyways, it's that holistic approach of like letting people feel like they belong and that they're valued. And so you're going to start and it's not going to be this picture perfect thing, and stop comparing yourself is the second piece of advice. So imperfect action is better than no action, and stop comparing yourself to what you're seeing on Instagram or what you're seeing on Facebook. It's such a thief. And I know that's an expression, right? Like comparison is a thief of joy. And it's just so true. I think you just have to stay so focused on your mission. Devin and I like to say all the time, and we still say this to this day, we don't care what our competition's doing. If you are looking left and right, you are not focused forward. And I think he uses this expression that, when like horses are racing, they actually put like blinders on the horses. So the horses don't see like, what's right and what's left, because they want that horse to be focused on the finish line. Yeah. And I think that's the same thing in our business is you have to stay so focused, but that first means you have to be very clear on what is your mission and what are your non-negotiables and what are your core values, because you've got to go back to that why and that mission often, because in business and in life, something's going to come and knock you down, right? Yep. All the time, every day. I have something or somebody trying to knock me down or my business down every single day. It's easy for me if I wanted to give up. If I wanted to give up, I could have a million reasons why, because people want to see that. But my mission is so much greater than anything the devil wants to bring to me. You know what I mean? I'm going to keep moving forward. And so just stop looking around at everything else and be so focused and so confident in what you have to bring. So if you're starting a business and it's not perfect yet, continue to just take action every single day. That consistency is going to pay off, and people are going to see that consistency in you. They're going to say, wow, she's had a lot of things come at her way, but she has not given up. That's inspiring. You're going to find success when you can stay consistent, stay grounded, and stay focused on what you set out to do.
Yeah. So powerful. So powerful. Like I want us to borrow that, like start in the parking lot. Just start with where you're at. Two things. I always try to keep us at a half hour, but it's so impossible because Morgan's amazing. So one thing I heard throughout everything you were sharing was this idea that failure was fuel. Like I heard I failed at this, but then this came, I felt this and this created this. And then of course you're sharing it with your franchisees so they don't have to feel it or experience it. But talk about what goes on in your mind when something doesn't go the way you'd hoped it does. and how you move past that, right? Because I want people to know, like, yeah, this really does happen. Doesn't matter if you're at $2, 6 figures, 7 figures, 8 figures. It doesn't matter. When it still stings,
Yep.
but it's what do we do with it at that
Yeah.
point that makes the difference. So
I think for me, yes, problems are always going to exist in your business. They're actually going to get bigger and bigger. I always say you just get better quality problems as you grow, but problems exist no matter what level you're at. And so you have to have that mental toughness to make sure you're looking at problems as opportunities to build a solution. It's a lot about that mindset, right? So if I have a franchisee or a member or a vendor complaining about something, instead of having like this defensive mentality, I try to condition myself to say, okay, thank you so much for that feedback. And what is the solution that I can provide now? So I've had to really shift my mind to just constantly be solution oriented and not problem focused.
yeah,
because if you get too much into the problem, your mindset's going to drop. And that's when you crumble. And that's when things don't feel very good. So for me, it's focused on being solution oriented when problems are occurring in your business. The second thing I would say is feel the feelings. Okay. Like feel the feelings of being mad, angry, embarrassed, shameful, all whatever that feeling might be for whatever happened. It's okay to feel it, but don't allow yourself to feel it for too long. So instead of like, what's the word? Not compress, but like stuffing the feelings aside, not feeling them. Can't think of that word right now. But instead of doing that, which I'm really good at, by the way,
most high performers are.
Yes. I'm good at like saying, I'm good, I'm fine. Everything's okay. And then of course we all know where that ends up, right? You come to some sort of like head and it blows up. So I've had to get really, really good at communicating how I'm feeling. And that's usually with Devin, right? Someone who is a safe space for me. It's not necessarily my office. I don't try to I try to keep a very positive mindset. So I'm thankful that Devin and I are in business together, because when I am feeling a certain feeling, I'm very open and communicating with him. So we can just kind of work through that feeling very quickly and then move right into that. Okay, solution. What are we going to do about it? Because my anxiety comes when I don't have like a roadmap to say, what are we going to do? And I'm left in like space of everything's falling apart. But so I just really try to focus on that solution and like, okay, what are the next steps we're going to take? And it's not going to be fixed tomorrow, but I'm taking a step every single day towards a better solution. So a lot of thoughts there, but I would say that for me is something that I've gotten better at. That wasn't always the case. Like in the beginning of business, I would let that like anxiety almost crumble me, and I would feel like I'm not good enough. I would feel like I'm not cut out for this job. I would feel like maybe we need to hire a COO. Like maybe this isn't for me. And I'd have a lot of those like thoughts of not being good enough, because, if you look at other COOs of other franchises, they have way more experience than I have. Right. And so I could let myself go down that road of not feeling good enough, but I know my value is too high, and I know I'm exactly where I need to be for this company right now. And so I've got to stay very present in that feeling and just move forward, right? Like, and that's what I mean by don't get stuck on that feeling for too long. Just keep moving forward.
Yeah. I've got a personal 5-minute rule. So 5 minutes, I can stay in it. I can have all the temper tantrum that comes along with the emotion. And then 5 minutes, I'm like, I don't care if I feel like shifting into solution. If the timer goes off, it's now time to shift into solution. And I've got to but I love that you talk about feeling it, because most high performers do exactly what you said you used to do. And I definitely used to do it. It's like, oh, forget, it's fine. And then and then your adrenal glands fail. So that's never good.
And it makes business not fun. Like if you're constantly letting the problems overwhelm you, like you stop having fun in your business, and that's where the freedom goes away. And that's something you just got to be so disciplined on. If you want to achieve big things and you want to achieve greatness, you have to know it's going to come with criticism. It's going to come with problems, but it's also going to come with so many beautiful things. But if you don't focus on the beautiful things and the why and that mission, the problems will crumble you and you won't have any more fun. And that's when like burnout happens and, unhappiness in what you do. And so it definitely takes a strong mindset for that, for sure.
Yeah, it does. And being a mom, I think, is the best equipping if we look at it. If we have kids because we want to have kids, right? And yes, like the upside is a million times the downside.
Yeah.
But there are poopy diapers.
Yeah.
Okay. There
That's
are,
a good analogy.
right?
Yeah.
There are times where they throw up on your cutest blouse. Like it just does happen. And so as long as we don't forget that, like, it is very similar to raising an amazing human being. And I love that so much. All right. So we've been talking here about, as women, stepping in to the idea of multiple streams of income. Very common with men, very common in the male side of business. Oh yeah, of course we have multiple streams of income, but it's almost non-existent in the female, especially online space, but just any space whatsoever. So I love that you guys do franchising because it gives someone an opportunity to put down stakes in a business that makes a huge difference. And so many of my listeners are like coaches or course creators, or they're serving already kind of along the lines of what your mission is. So I'm encouraging people to just like think about other streams of income that they can create. Some of my people are into real estate. So I'm like really encouraging them to go meet with Tressa and, talk to her and like deal with that. So talk a little bit about what is it like to be a Burn Bootcamp franchisee. I'd love to get a little insight to that.
Yeah, no, and I love that philosophy as well. And I'm very proud that we have almost 85% of our franchisees are women.
That's awesome.
It might even be closer to 90%. And these are women that either have a corporate job and are also doing, this as well, or maybe it was a stay-at-home mom that's, finally chasing a dream that they've had on their heart, or it's a trainer that's been doing all kinds of things and moved into ownership. But so that's really, really cool just to see people have something planted in them and chase their dreams. And like, I've seen women in this business that, they started Burn and now they're doing other businesses, right?
Yeah.
Because they've gained that confidence to be like, yes, I can do this. And it kind of all sits in the same ecosystem towards their mission to impact others in a positive way. And I think, again, it goes back to like being congruent with what you love and what you do. But being a franchise partner at Burn, you have to care about impacting people. So this is definitely not a revenue stream that just sits passively and makes you money. Like you have to work at it, but you want to love just touching people's lives, and you have to build the right team that has the same things in mind. I think there's definitely franchises out there that you can just hire a team of people and you make some money every month. Yeah. This is different, and everyone has a little bit different model out there. Some are remote owners, some have full-time jobs, and they hire an entire team, but they still have somewhat of an involvement and a passion for fitness or for impacting people. Within Burn, we have multiple revenue streams, right? So we have our own supplement line, we have our own retail line, there's kids camp that we do. And so it's bringing in people for multiple things and helping close gaps of the needs that they have. And I think that's important as a business too. Like, within your business, how are you continuing to create solutions for people, whether that's through a product, a service? So does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does. I just wanted to give them I know there's going to be listeners like, I never realized this was a potential. And after hearing you, they're going to be like, this is the thing I've been looking for. Cause I hear a lot of that. Like, I just don't know what it is, right? They're searching, right?
Yeah. And I mean, franchising is neat in the way that you've got the playbooks, right? Like you have that support. You have a greater group of people. We call it our Burn family of other business owners, other franchise partners that are there for you to support you. So it feels like you're not on an island starting from ground zero. Yeah. You're working with a brand that is starting to gain that, national brand awareness. We're not quite there yet, but we will be, we're in 40 states. So, you plug in and you have a support system and you have a network to say, hey, I have this problem. What should I do? Versus just, kind of going on your own. And so that's the beautiful thing about franchising, is really being an entrepreneur, but doing it with a lot of other people that have done it before you and can help get you through some of those problems that we've talked about here on the call today.
Yeah, all that support. Okay. I'm going to wrap us up, but I want to ask, okay, this is a left field question, so get ready for it. I'm asking all the queens this because a lot of my listeners, they're, in this pursuit to get to six figures in that realm, or maybe they've hit six and they're going for seven.
Mm-hmm.
So have you ever watched Undercover Billionaire? Like the Undercover Billionaire series? Where
a couple episodes.
Okay. So same kind of concept. Like if the money was gone, like you didn't have access to any of the money and you didn't have access to the relationships that you have, but you kept all the knowledge. So you still have all the knowledge you have right now and you were going to start over. What would be the first few things that you would do? And it's been different. The answers have been different all across the board, which I love.
So start over in my same business, right?
It's up to you.
Well, I would absolutely do my same business over again. I love what I do and I love the people that we serve and I just love our brand. Gosh.
I know it's a challenging one.
I think for me, one of the biggest things that comes to mind is who I allow on my team. That would be different from day one. Nothing against the people that were on my team, if you're listening to this. But I think as business owner, you feel like your back's against the wall a lot and you put up with a lot of mediocre stuff when your standard is excellence. Yeah. And it's taken me a long time to be very confident in my standard and not to allow for anything less than that. And that's okay. That doesn't make me a bad person or a bad employer if I have a certain standard in my business. And I think just the mindset of like hiring and firing from the get-go would have been different because I felt like very vulnerable in those moments because we were so new. So that would change. And I just think I would remember some of the hard times and say like, you're going to get through them, Morgan, and I think that's what I would tell myself. You're going to get through them. They're going to pass. They're actually going to make you stronger and more confident, and they're going to make you have more value in yourself. So just get through those hard times.
I love it. Because that's right where people are at. All right. So we'll of course put it in the show notes, but how can people connect with you and everything that is Burn Bootcamp?
Yeah. So I'm on Instagram. My handle is @morgan.a.kline. That's where I am the most. And I answer as many DMs as I can. I love talking with people and engaging with people. Our website is burnbootcamp.com. And we're also on Instagram @burnbootcamp. So those are the two best ways. And then I do have a podcast called Coffee and Kettlebells. So you can search that.
So good too, by the way.
Thank you. I'm taking a little break right now. We're getting ready to relaunch. But I have tons of episodes on there and you can kind of get a little bit more insight into my brain.
I love it. All right. So we'll post all that down below. Morgan, thank you so much for coming on the podcast and just sharing your heart. It is for women and to elevate women, and it's neat to be a part of the journey next to you. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Oh my gosh. Don't you just love Morgan? She is amazing. So all the links are down below. And listen, if you are like hearing that conversation around franchising and that's like sparked something, I want you to DM me so I can help you get that conversation going on a deeper level. But the challenge for me to you is, what was your biggest takeaway? Like, what was the thing that Morgan said that you're going to take and you're going to make sure you're taking action on? I'd love to hear it in the socials. Tag me at Dr. Shannon Irvin, and I will see you next week on the Epic Success Podcast. Bye for now.